Hey, I'm Matt,
And I'm Wes.
and we started off our project by looking at the allocated average overhead cost per product, and we were going to see if it is a product design instead of a facility design. Uh, so we began by checking the average overhead price per product, and as you can see, the product 4513 has almost double its predecessors 3011 and 3021, and almost 6 times what the average cost per product is, which is sitting at 20,000. So product 4513 is was substantially higher than all the other ones, and we assumed that since these were the highest, they would in essence have the highest total cost. We then looked at the total overhead costs for all the products, and 4513 and 3021 and 3011 were all on the top as well, substantially higher numbers, and they're about equally spread apart. 166 is about 6 times more than 30,000. So, and then those are about half of what product 4513, 3021, and 3011 are. So we assumed that they would have the highest percentage of units just because they were at the top. So we then looked at the percentage of units per product. 4513 was up near the top, but not at the top. Product 4813 was at the top, which was surprising to us because that one was not at the top or even near the top of the total cost per product or the total overhead cost per product. So these aren't correlating necessarily to what we assumed they would. Products 3011 and 3021 are actually near the bottom of the sum of units. So after looking at the sum of units and the percentages, we decided to look at the manufacturing overhead and total cost per product and see how they stack up. No surprise, 4513 and 4813 are both at the top. They have very large sum of total costs, but the manufacturing overhead in 4513 is not proportionate to what it is in 4813. It's about 75% of what the total cost is in product 4513, but it's only about maybe 50% or lower in 4813. Both of those still have total costs of nearly 4 times of what the immediate ones below it cost, but overall it's nearly 8 times the amount of all the other product cost. So next we decided to see if they were being allocated proportionately. We decided to look at the percentages of manufacturing overhead and total cost for everything, for all the products. So we look, and they are pretty proportionate. They kind of go down in a downward slope, so there's nothing really erratic in this chart, but 4513 and 4813 still being at the top and the most costly to the company as a whole. So Wes, what did you see next? And I'll let you comment on this as well.
Alright, so after we looked at the total cost proportions and manufacturing overhead proportions, we wanted to look and see if plant had been experiencing increased overheads over the periods. And as you can see, the first 4 increase, or the second, third, and fourth one increase a little bit, but not significantly. And then plant 1, as you can see right here, from period 110 to period 111, it increases by nearly $300,000, and then increases another $100,000 the next period, and then it stays up around the $1.1 million overhead, and then slowly subsides. But I mean, it's still a lot higher than the rest of them in proportion. So we wanted to see if a product followed this trend, and 4513 looks almost identical to plant 1's increased overhead. As you can see from the same periods, period 110 to 111, it increases by about $10,000 and then increases a little bit more and then subsides again in period 115. And as you can see, I mean, some of these products increase in overhead by period, but in the magnitude of 4513 was too much for us not to look at first. And so we went to plant one and looked at the products within plant one. And once again, product 4513 looks just the same as the first two graphs. From period 110 to period 111, it jumps several $100,000, jumps a little bit more, and then declines in the last period. So we wanted to look at every plant that produced product 4513 to see how efficient plant one is being, if it was a product design flaw, if it's a facility flaw. So as you can see, product one incurs 75.38% of the total sum of units, which is 3/4, but incurs almost 99% of the total overhead for product 4513. And plant 2 and plant 5 are 14% and 10.5%, while only incurring 1% and 0.2% of the total overhead. So that led us to believe that it's a facility flaw, because if plant 2 and plant 5 can be that efficient and only have a 14th of the ratio of overhead, or of the total sum of overhead to the total sum of units, you can see that obviously plant 1 has something to figure out. And for us to figure that out, we decided that we should tell plant 1 managers to sit down with plant 2 and plant 5 managers, see what they're doing wrong, if there's anything that they can figure out together, or even just produce some more proportionately throughout the 3 plants to give plant 2 and plant 5 more units so they can produce more, which would cut overhead costs totally.